G'day Legends, Blake here with another video. And have you ever sat back, maybe in your own fish room, and thought, I'd really love to change these 5 things about the aquarium hobby? Well, that was me this afternoon, so today I thought I'd share with you guys what I came up with. Let's jump straight into the video. Okay, so when thinking about 5 things I wish that I could change about the aquarium hobby, the first one, and I think for the most part the most important, which kind of leads on to a lot of other things, is treating fish as a decoration. Maybe it's because they can be confined to one corner of a room, maybe it's because they don't really make any noise, but I just think overall, as a human society, we need to get better about our consideration of fish as actual animals. And let's be honest, you don't liven up a room by throwing 15 chihuahuas up against a wall, do you? So why do we think that we can go ahead and do that to fish? Now, obviously, if you're watching this video and you're following along with the channel, I highly doubt you're in that category, so you're probably okay. But these are the conversations I'd like people to start having, especially if we go into some houses and we see that there's some really poorly looked after aquarium jammed full of fish that is supposed to bring some sort of nature to life in a room. The next one I think leads into that, and that is actually treating fish as commodities. So when that person goes and livens up the corner of their living room with the fish tank and obviously goes ahead and neglects the thing, and then it gets full of algae and debris. This kind of behavior that exists where either if the fish keep dying, people go and just replace them every few weeks and think that's just what happens to fish, or on the other side you sort of go out based on zero research about compatibility or care, you go and pick up a sucker fish to go ahead and clean the aquarium. I just think this is behavior that we should, as responsible fish keepers, anytime we hear it being spoken about in a local fish store, or if you've got colleagues at work mentioning a fish tank that they're having dramas with. Now, I'm sure many of us already do it, but myself, I'm going to personally really try and correct those behaviors, even if the other person doesn't always want to listen. Again, it's just something that's unique to the aquarium hobby, and it's not like when people go and pick up a canary, they go and also pick up like a hamster to run around the bottom of the cage and do all the cleaning. So why is that a thing in the fish hobby? I'll never understand. The third one, to kind of head really dark with it, is the acceptance of cruelty. And no, I'm not talking about absolutely barbaric practices such as dyeing fish, tattooing fish, or anything like that. But adjacent to that, I'm talking about people who go into fish stores, get told, for example, an Oscar needs a minimum of 75 gallons, and then they just either are deceptive to people trying to tell them that information, or they just flat out ignore it, and they go ahead and pick up the fish anyway and go and stick it at home in a 5-gallon. Or because a couple of generations ago, somebody also trying to justify their decision making came up with this saying that fish only grow to the size of the aquarium. Now, as we know, it's just flat out not true, and more often than not, the fish will die before it ever gets to a size that will be able to outgrow that aquarium, because the accumulation of waste will be such that any filtration, if there is any filtration at all, just simply won't be able to keep up. So I think all of us know this to be the case, but we've all seen it done before. We've all had people that we try and give good advice to, and you can see their eyes just glaze over in front of you because they've made up their mind that they're going to do it. So, we're living in the internet age now. There's plenty of information out there, and I think it's time that we start to put that myth to bed. And by the way, just before I move on to the next one, there is aquarium size in that, but it also relates to things like compatibility and temperature as well. How many people do you recommend that they'll need to keep a heater with a certain type of fish, or they want to keep a tropical tank but don't want the fuss of picking up a $10 or $15 heater? And then they just decide to go and do it anyway and wonder why there's problems. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And if people aren't going to be willing to make an investment of $10 or $15 to ensure the happiness of an animal that they're bringing into their home, how can we expect them to feed them properly, look after them, or give them the care that they deserve? Again, people don't go out and pick up a puppy but then not bother to buy them a food bowl or a water bowl and just tip water onto the floor for them to try and drink that way. Like, these are the things that you need to get for your pets. So why do we keep accepting this? on that topic, and this is something that I think we can play a part in, is the sheer amount of misinformation out there, both online and in stores. We all know it, pet shops, and I know chain stores are really guilty of it, especially ones that don't specialize in fish. We've heard it all before that, just incorrect information being given out about fish compatibility or care, and whether it's a shady sales tactic or just simply an employee not being aware. I think, again, we live in an age where there's so much information out there and good information that we should make a conscious effort to promote and share out the good information so that we can attempt to bury or correct some of the misinformation out there. Now, I know that some of it comes around from a good intention, or some of it does come from just flat out trolling. I think that it's really common these days in aquarium keeping groups that you'll ask a question and you'll get 4 or 5 different conflicting answers, confusing answers, and how can we expect people to settle in and enjoy what is a really relaxing, beautiful hobby if they have to wade through all of this confusion and misinformation as a sort of barrier to entry before you can get to that point? So that's partly why I do my best to put out as much good information as I can to try and put some of the bad information to bed. The 5th one, to end on a lighter note, is that I think fish keeping should be cool. Why is it acceptable for people to have a photo of their dog on their desk, but if I go ahead and put a photo of my Saratoga on my desk, I'm all of a sudden the weird fish guy? I think it stems from the stigma of fish keeping being keeping a struggling goldfish in a shot glass full of water with some rainbow gravel at the bottom of it, and people just don't realize or don't understand the amount of options there are available. I think the opinion of fish keeping as a hobby definitely deserves to be higher ranked or considered less weird. I mean, maybe it's just that this kind of early way of keeping fish keeping clouded people from being able to see high-end aquascaping and how stunning that can be. Even just hobbyist sort of overgrown jungle tanks, which I've seen heaps of great looking ones, or even just fish themselves. There's hundreds of thousands of species of really beautiful fish in all sorts of different colors, exhibiting really interesting or quirky behavior or just some beautiful activity. As well as that, I think it's so accessible, calming and relaxing, and you can make it exactly what you want it to be. Whether you're a crazy person like me and you want to fill up your garage with 50 aquariums, or you just want really one beautiful tank in your living room to show some guests when they come around or to tinker with as you're watching TV. So for that reason, I'm sick to death of seeing 1,000 different photos of golden retriever puppies or somebody's new kitten. And it's time that we started keeping a photo of our favorite shell dweller or a guppy or whatever it might be in our wallets, on our desks, and let's start sort of embracing this hobby as a fantastic method of keeping pets that it is. So hopefully you like this video. It's something a bit different to usual, but again, it's just something on my mind, and I thought, if I keep it to myself, we're never going to see these changes happen. So if you have something you'd like to change about the hobby in general, drop it down below, and I'm sure we can all talk about it together. But other than that, if you like the video, it always helps me out to smash like, hit subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And other than that, I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.